Daytime. SCP Daytime.
Well, it looks like it's going to be another fine day.
Resistance is futile. Just simulate the day.
Go ahead. Make my day.
How was your day today? Did you have a good day today or a bad day today? Well, what kind of day was it? Well, I don't know. How about you? How was your day?
We have a big show for
Good luck, showboy.
Come on, and away we go.
That's the smartest thing I've heard all day.
SCP Daytime.
Frank Sinatra Jr. passed away this week. First, for those under the age of, say, 35 who are saying, wow, I thought he died a long time ago. That dude must have been like 100 years old. Allow me the privilege of setting you straight. That was Frank Sinatra. It was his son, Frank Jr., who died. And no, Frank Jr. wasn't like 100 years old. He was only 72. Yeah, I hear you. 72? Well, that's old too. I understand why you feel that way. Trust me when I tell you that when you hit 71, you won't feel that way anymore. At first, I was tempted to begin here with something glib and self-serving, since that seems to be the way we're doing things now, at least if you want to be a frontrunner for a presidential nomination, and say something like, we've had a death in the family. But the truth is, I'm not in any way, shape, form, or strain of DNA related to the Sinatra family. What is true, though, is that I have a history with them. One dear surrogate father in my life, who we also lost much too soon, was Billy Strange. Now, although the name doesn't ring a bell unless you're a dedicated pop music trivia geek, you have certainly heard his work, if only randomly, no matter what age you are. A world-class arranger and guitarist, Billy's work was instrumental on a whole lot of the great pop records of the 1960s, everything from Beach Boys' Fun, Fun, Fun to his unique and what turned out to be iconic idea for a way to grab listeners' attention from the get-go when Nancy Sinatra recorded the original version of her big 60s hit, These Boots Are Made for Walking. A simple but catchy little guitar lick. In the mid-90s, as the result of my association with Billy and his association with Nancy, I had the trivial pursuitish privilege of having one of my songs recorded by Nancy herself for an album entitled One More Time.
Don't you cry no crocodile tears, 'cause I don't move so easy.
Okay, so it wasn't Eleanor Rigby, but it was Nancy Sinatra, okay? Nancy's dad actually recorded the song Mine as well in the years before his passing in 1998, but you'll just have to take my word for that one because it's one of those never released but somewhere in the vaults recording that are common in the music biz. Hey, why would I lie? I'm not running for anything. As far as Frank Jr. was concerned, I had no musical connection with him, but I did, in fact, meet him in 1994 as he traveled around the country doing industry meet and greets to hype his dad's album Duets 2, a collection of songs sung with other vocal celebs. Actually, the sequel album to an earlier collection very cleverly titled, can you guess? Duets. The second collection featured such partners with Frank as Linda Ronstadt, Neil Diamond, Jimmy Buffett, Gladys Knight, and Nashville country popster Lorrie Morgan, who we'll get back to momentito. Frank Jr. even did a duet with the Dad on the unofficial Chicago anthem, My Kinda Town. The junket gathering took place in a relatively small conference room of an upscale downtown Nashville hotel, the kind of room that, once supplied with a wet bar and a nice spread, allowed for about 40 or 50 of the local movers and shakers to stand and chat and drink and nosh and wait for the obligatory, always 5 minutes too long speeches, followed by the obligatory working of the room and shaking of the hands. In those days, I was supplementing my staggering broadcasting income with a management gig with Tower Records, one of then the nation's largest and most powerful music retailers. Ergo, my plus-twos and I were sufficiently able to move and shake to qualify for entry, as well as a drink and a nosh. And the obligatory always 5 minutes too long speeches, followed by the obligatory working of the room and shaking of the hands. Frank Jr. didn't arrive until Schmoozapalooza was well underway, and I remember thinking at the time that there was no shortage of pretentiousness from the get-go, since we knew for a fact that Jr. was, in fact, actually staying in that very hotel. I mean, I totally get the concept of making an entrance, but the amount of time between the opening of the wet bar and the arrival of the heir to the chairman would have had you thinking that he was flying in from Burma, now more commonly known, of course, as Myanmar.
You most likely know it as Myanmar, but it'll always be Burma to me.
All these 20 years later, I don't remember his actual arrival, and I don't remember anything at all of what the 3 or 4 various and sundry pre-Frank speakers offered up in their always 5 minutes too long. What I do remember is Frank Jr. living up to every comical stereotype that I'd ever had of a second-generation rat packer who was alive and well, standing right in front of us in the year 1994, but in attitude, appearance, and did I mention attitude? Was like a delightful character plopped into our midst by Rod Serling from straight off the Vegas Strip circa 1961. Ring-a-ding-ding. He was wearing a dark suit with a metal gray tie, the suit made of that fabric that was both undoubtedly no less than $3,000 per, and right up to but not overly shiny in that way that makes you just know that it would have been considered classy and tasteful for clothes horses like Tony Soprano.
Oh, no, I'm good.
In one hand, an ever-present cocktail, and I never heard him say so, but I'd be willing to bet my Nancy royalties that he referred to it as a highball. In the other hand, the ever-present cigarette, smoke wisping just enough to complete the look without offending the tightly packed crowd of movers and shakers. The smoker, who stopped a long time ago in me, couldn't help but feel just a twinge of irony mixed with poignancy at my memory of that cigarette, given the news this week that he died of a massive heart attack. But the coup de grace, the moment that we were all waiting for, even though we had at the time absolutely no idea of just how much we were all waiting for it, the speech, baby. Standing behind the small hotel-furnished tabletop podium underneath those ceiling track lights that always walk a fine line between providing quasi-mood criminal interrogation lighting and keeping your French fries good and hot.
Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that? Hey, would you like flies with that? Oh, damn it! Damn it!
Frank Jr. was, with whiskey and Winston in hand, the stuff that Saturday Night Live writers live for. And he hadn't even spoken a word. That's when things got classy. And stayed classy, my friends. The speech itself was the usual assortment of happy to be here, thanks for being here, wonderful to be in Nashville, wonderful to talk about this great new album, kind of thing, with a couple of very special splashes of unique. The words wonderful, great, stupendous, basically any and all adjectives that might be synonymous in the context, were almost without exception replaced by a word I've always suspected might have long ago been officially trademarked by the Sinatra men. Marvelous. Pronounced, though, in that special Sinatra way that only a Sinatra could pronounce it. Marvelous.
Can't understand a word.
And as there can be no pancakes without syrup, no Abbott without Costello, no Kanye without narcissism on a galactic scale, there can be no Marvelous without, ladies and gentlemen. So everything that night, album, city, gathering, even the wet bar and the nice spread, were surely and repeatedly marvelous, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely marvelous. Oh, and one more thing on that list. Lorrie Morgan's boobs. And not that the rest of the assembled movers and shakers, not to mention anyone who had ever come into any kind of contact with her, hadn't noticed that Ms. Morgan was a healthy, fair to say, bosomy woman. Not on a dolly scale, but certainly in the category that made cleavage seem like a slightly inadequate word. But Frank Jr. looked, acted, and most obviously Vegas Strip circa 1961 spoke about and to those breasts as though they were part of the mammary equivalent of Larry, his brother Daryl, and his other brother Daryl. I'll give you a sec to figure that one out.
Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
And I'm very proud of the marvelous artists we were able to have join us on this project. Junior regaled the assembled in his best ring-a-ding rhetoric. But none quite so talented and lovely as the marvelous and voluptuous Miss Lorrie Morgan, ladies and gentlemen. Cue the slight, courteously offered applause. That's right, let's hear it for the voluptuous Ms. Morgan. Junior's smile was the broadest and most sparkling that money could buy. His left hand set the highball down to wrap the entire arm around his marvelous and voluptuous co-hostess, and his twinkling, dancing eyes twinkled and danced and never, for a single second, looked away from either Daryl or Daryl. The Plus Twos and I, along with a couple of close business friends, several of them females, were and are no prudes or virgins in the ways of the world. And each of us and every one of us would qualify to appear in any future issue of Homes and Gardens' Glass Houses of the Movers and Shakers. But even we found ourselves alternately giggling and grimacing as we commiserated quietly to each other something along the lines of, he knows we can see and hear him, right? Then again, the drinks were good and the spread was nice, and all in all, we had a marvelous time. Marvelous. I've read in recent days more than one essay written by people who either knew or knew well of Frank Jr. And for the most part, they paint a picture of a guy who really wasn't very happy in his life. I imagine that growing up in the shadow of an entertainment icon is probably no easy road. And having to live up to the legend was surely made, at least subliminally, more difficult by being not only the son of the icon, but carrying both the blessing and the burden of his name as well. Like I said, I never really knew the man. I just met him the one time, at a nice party with a wet bar and a nice spread, along with my friends, Lori Morgan, and Daryl, All in all, a marvelous memory, ladies and gentlemen. Marvelous.
We do a Sinatra song in every show, ladies and gentlemen. I come from a very unusual family, you see. And it's a kind of a nice thing. But incidentally, folks, last night at the same time, I met a couple in the audience. They said, "Young man, why do you do a Sinatra song in the show?" And I thought I would answer that. I do a Sinatra song, folks, so that none of you can confuse me with Liza Minnelli. We have been mistaken for each other in the past. I wrote it. Anyway, is he laughing or is he coming up here? Anyway, we have... Uh-oh, he's coming up here. Look out, where's Don Nichols? Just never happened to him. All right, I apologize. Just a minute.
I mean, I think that Liza Minnelli is a very cute girl, and she's a sweet girl, but nobody in our family looks like Liza Minnelli. They all look like me.
Does he smile? I don't want to look. I'm at attention here. I gotta say, how about we do a little something? Well, I shouldn't suggest this, but how about we do something together? Oh, I'm so nervous.
All right, I'll tell you what to do. I don't know what you got coming up, but whatever it is, I'll take a shot.
Can we fake something?
Yeah.
Larry, give me that number 362 there. Let's give that a shot, man. Let me see. Maybe you might remember this song, Dad. We stole it from you. All or nothing at all. Avalon never appealed to me. If your heart never could yield to me, then I'd rather have nothing at all. Thank you, sir. All or nothing at all. If it's blood, there ain't no in between. Why begin and cry for something that there might have been? Hey, I'd rather have nothing at all. Please don't bring your lips close to my cheek. Why couldn't I never learn to do that? Oh, don't smile or I'll be lost beyond recall. That wasn't in the script. Stop ad-libbing. A kiss in your eyes, the touch of your hand leaves me weak. And my heart will grow dizzy and fall. And if I fell under the spell of your call, I would be caught in my underwear undertow. So you see, I got to say no, no, what do you got to say? All or nothing at all. That's pretty good, don't you think? And if I fell under the spell of your call. Can't you see I'd be dragged? And so you see, no, all or nothing at all. I say all The number in New York is Eldorado 59970.